Well, Brad, you've made it. You are officially a legend. You're a master.
Yeah, you don't know how much easier that helps me sleep at night.
7 laps for this first race of Touring Car Masters for the weekend. Bumper field, 30 cars will line up for this one. And not really too surprising that John Bowe starts on pole, because he's only had 5 for the season. He won 10 races in a row through the mid part of the year, and this is the penultimate round, and he does lead the points coming in this one. But there's some pretty stiff competition these days in TCM. It all started off as a bit of fun, but it's got a bit serious.
Well, we've got these guys that were front runners in touring cars, and they're all in here now. We've got Jim Richards, who's second on the grid. Gavin Bullis is a great peddler. He's been around for a fair while. Andrew Madecki.
Greg Crick's in a Chrysler Charger that has really been souped up and been quick. Brett Youlden, Cam Tilley's come back with the Mustang. Paul Freestone next. Michael Arman making his Bathurst debut in the Porsche. Steve Mason swapped his old Camaro and is now in a Ford Mustang Fastback. Gary O'Brien comes back to the series in the HQ Holden. Greg Keane in the Porsche 911. Michael Wedge in the HQ Monaro that we saw Jason Richards drove so awesomely on Sunday last year. Tony Edwards down the back. He's had more engine problems in that big SLR 5000 Tirana. He should blast his way through a few of them from 30th on the grid. We'll roll back the clock here. John Bowe, former Bathurst winner. Jim Richards, former Bathurst winner. Andrew Madecki, Bathurst podium finisher. Glenn Seaton, Bathurst podium finisher. There's plenty of experience, plenty of history on the grid. It's a Mustang versus an AMC Javelin, a Mustang and a Camaro on row 2. A couple of Falcons next, green flag at the back, 30 cars set to go. John Bowe, the series leader. Can they stop Mustang Sally? Seven-time Bathurst 1000 winner. Got this Javelin here for the first time. He's up to the lead. Look at Seaton. He's up to 4th. Look for that number 30-40. It's almost like the old golf colours of the Porsches from Le Mans in the 60s. He's already slicing through. He's through to 3rd.
You know, those HOs, they've got so much horsepower, they certainly go in a straight line.
Oh, Madecki up the inside of the former champ, Gavin Bullis. Eddie Abonisa behind in the red two-door Ford Coupe. But it's Richards who leads, the man with more starts in the 1000 than anyone, 35 since his first trip here in 74. And this Javelin has been a new car into TCM this year, Brad. It's a little bit different to what we've seen. It won its first race at Sandown just a few weeks ago. Nothing better, though, to get it up front here at the mountain.
And he's put a lot of work into it. Richo's been working on this for a couple of years. He bought it from a guy, I think, in Melbourne and built it into a race car. And it's certainly doing the goods at the moment. You've got to, as you said, you've got to have a V8. I mean, it's great to see Cricky in the Charger up there, but these guys at the pointy end are putting a lot of work into these cars.
Off the top, dropping down. Remember, too, that this is not strictly historic racing. Yes, they are older cars, but
they're breathed on somewhat. And I've got to say, Glenn Seaton is getting across the top of the hill. We've got a bit of smoke coming out of Eddie's Falcon there by the looks of things.
Eddie Abonisa there looks to be on throttle when he's driving it off the turns. We'll keep an eye on that with that.
Could be a bit of oil surge. It used to be a problem in these cars a long time ago, but as you mentioned, they're certainly a bit different now to what they were in those days.
If they could do 21s in those days, they'd be stoked.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this.
I tell you, Glenn's going to get John Bowe in a second. If he can pull that thing up at the end of the chase.
Well, Bowe's getting Richards. Change for the lead. And the two-time 1000 winner slips on by him. I noticed during the week, he's put this car for sale.
Yes, he has.
Is he really going to sell it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, why would you sell something and win everything in? But he's certainly got it on the market, and if you were going to come into the class, it's a perfect car to buy.
Listen to us, used car salesman from way back. That smoke seems to come and go from the Eddie Abonisa car. Brad Tilley just behind, and then Adam Bressington in that number 7 Camaro. That's the ex-Steve Mason car that won the inaugural TCM title back in 2007. Replay the start.
And look at Glenn Seaton. Man, he gets that thing off the line like a shot out of a gun, squeezes Brad Tilley, and pops out in 4th. This
is the onboard shot with Greg Crick in the Charger that didn't charge too well initially.
No, he didn't jump, and then the next mistake you make is you dip the clutch, give it a boot full of throttle, and then it breaks into wheel spin and even more cars go past you. But at that moment, it's pretty hard to convince yourself that you need to be nice and gentle.
Bow leading Richard Seaton. Thought we're in the 80s or 90s there for a second.
Those cars taking a nice set, the back stepping out on them. I'm very impressed with Glenn Seaton. These cars, the HOs and the XAs and the SLR Toranas haven't really been quite on the money, but he's doing an amazing job in that car. And it just goes to show you when you get a bloke in that's got a lot of experience and very committed. The big problem, I think, with the Falcon is the brakes. It doesn't quite seem to pull up. It's got a bit too much weight in it, and it's hurting a little bit now after only a couple of laps, but still he's hanging on pretty well across the top of the hill. Gavin
Bullis is the man chasing. They had a bit of a fuel problem with that Mustang yesterday. That smoke's still coming from the back of Eddie Albanese's Falcon hardtop. Once he gets on the throttle, he seems to be okay. Just on board with Greg Crick in the Mopar-backed Charger, which is number 75 because it's the 75th year of Mopar in Australia. So if you're not a Holder man, you're not a Ford man, and you're a Charger man, this is your machine.
Yeah. Now you see that light going on the dash. That's the gear change light. So it comes on at the end of the straight there when it's almost on the rev limiter, and that's a nice move around the outside.
Go Cricky, straight down the inside on Brett Yulden, who of course is his nephew Luke is driving. We just saw him in the Dunlop Series. He'll be with Shane Van Gisbergen on Sunday. Great camera shot there of this massive crowd on pit straight. Bow leads, Richards next, Seaton chasing, Gavin Bullis is fourth, Andrew Medicki best of the GM cars. Camaro sits in fifth. Touring Car Masters, lap 3. More from Bathurst in just a moment. It's old school racing at the top of Mount Panorama. Glenn Seaton third, Andrew Medicki fourth. Race 1 of Touring Car Masters at Mount Panorama, part of the 50-year celebration of the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. But it's John Bow and Jim Richards who are giving them a master class. But Brad Jones, this didn't go right for Gavin Bullis.
No, he just cleared Glenn Seaton, and then he just ran a little bit wide, and boom.
Just folded the right rear guard down onto that tyre. We're on board here with Greg Crick, who's menacing Mark King in that Camaro. Cam Tilley in the blue Mustang is trying to carve his way through as well.
And the problem when you're in a position where Greg Crick is here is you're trying to defend, but you're also trying to pass. So you end up pinching yourself a little bit on the inside of the corner so no one slides down the inside. But, of course, then you've got to run onto the car in front of you.
And that cries, I keep going to say Viper because we're so used to Cricky driving the Viper in the GT Championship. It finished fourth in the last round at Sandown. That's not what you do to a Charger.
Man, he's turned that thing into a crap. Have a look at it.
It's not going to turn.
That's not going anywhere.
And that will park. That's just on the run towards the dipper. Through the S's, and he has pancaked the side of that. Good and proper.
Has he ever? That would be the worst parking position in the world, I think. You see the cars will appear over that rise.
It looks okay on the right side. This is why. Boom! Got the whole left-hand side.
And have a look at that left front tyre.
In the old days, no tyre wall there.
And you see that's hit that hard. It's knocked the tyre net down off the car.
Tilley through. Cam Tilley gets a move done on Greg Crick. Bullis to the pits, so that rubbing tyre has cost him in the Mustang.
Absolutely. Well, this isn't the sort of place that you drive around and have a tyre rubbing.
That was a little tight between Crick and King, and that is Seaton slowing.
Well, we saw some fluid coming out of the front of Seaton's car, just behind the right-hand front wheel. And I fear that it's probably got a little bit too hot, and it's not pumping water out anymore. That usually means two things. It's either cured itself, which never happens, or it's got no more water in it.
It's not good either way.
That's what it happens to be.
It's not good either way. Was contending in the top few. Just going to get out of the way as the rest of the field makes its way on by, and that's Chris Collins in the four-door Falcon going by. Crick's not giving in. This Chrysler is hooking across the top. This is the car it's still being developed, so it's starting to move its way up the order, Brad.
And he's doing a really good job in it. We see Mark King using all the road there, disappearing into that little piece of tarmac in between the curbs. Caution. Got some yellow flags down through here for our Charger that's parallel parked.
It's not part of the driving test, that one, though.
No.
And a bit of fluid all the way down the mountain with those slippery surface flags.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're assuming that Glenn had an engine problem. Could just as easily be a transmission problem or something else. Now, look at this battle for the lead.
It's on between these two. The two absolute stars of V8 supercar racing in their time. Touring Car Masters, in fact, we're hearing from Race Control, this one's going to be the final lap because of a time certain finish. So Jimmy Richards might have left his run just that little bit too late. And John Bowe, the former Bathurst 1000 winner, will get Mustang Sally home to another win. He's marching towards back-to-back TCM crowns. Bowe and Richards give a masterclass on the mountain. Medeki will be third, Brad Tilley next, then Eddie Vanessa. Despite having a bit of smoke the whole way, he made it in 5th place. Adam Bressington next, Keith Koskulki in the Falcon hardtop next across the line. Cam Tilley, Greg Crick and Mark King round out the 10. There are the results for you. We'll have more Touring Car Masters action tomorrow from Mount Panorama. The question is, can anyone stop John Bowe? That Mustang is certainly hooked up. Jim Richards and Andrew Medeki seem to be the best. Stick with us. Qualifying for the V8 Supercars not too far away at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000.